Hey, yo, welcome to the Uncle Show. So a while ago, I did a poll on what Transformers I should look at for this batch of videos, because despite being most of my collection, I stupidly forgot to include some in there. Whoops. Well, I ran a poll, and surprisingly the winners were something I was not expecting. A video I dubbed the Seeker Send-Off. I was mostly surprised because, well, these aren't necessarily the most well-liked figures. But then again, I guess it also made sense because we got a new Seeker mold recently with Studio Series 86 Thundercracker. I got the Cracker here, and if you read anything about this guy, you know this is a great figure. Lots to love, but it did get me thinking about the Earthrise mold, which I got a ton of, as you can see here, and well, I kind of wanted to look back on it because this mold has had a lot of different opinions over the years, with some loving it, some hating it, and so it kind of made me want to go over it. But first, a little backstory, because for those that don't know, while Starscream is one of the most popular G1 characters, and I don't think he needs any kind of character introduction, he's kind of tough to adapt in toy form. Because his original toy, while still iconic, is also a lot weaker in comparison to a lot of the other Transformers toys of the time, like the big fist with nowhere to put him, the most basic transformation ever, only point of articulation being the arms, the parts forming wings. Still fun of course, but he was always a prime candidate for a modern upgrade. And he did get a great one in 2007 with the Classics mold here, which is an iconic toy in its own right. All the classic toys were huge leap forwards in terms of engineering and articulation from what came before in G1, but Starscream, given who he was, just became a prime target for repaints everywhere. I think this mold saw, like 12 different paint jobs, not including just Starscream. But after that, it was a lot of awkward retoolings of other figures and gimmicky combiners. The big thing people wanted was something G1 accurate while also having a lot better articulation. We kind of got that halfway there in 2019 with Siege Starscream. Now, as you can see here, this is close to a G1 Starscream, but obviously it turns into a Cybertronian Tetrajet, which are borderline impossible to adapt into toy form, and honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of. But while the vehicle mode wasn't very good, the robot mode itself is genuinely impressive in terms of articulation. This is one of the best posing figures of Siege, with the very rare Seeker waist swivel, but while functionally brilliant, I still feel it has a lot of the problems of Siege. Because while the design is overall quite good and close to Starscream, God, it just looks disgusting. Siege detailing is already hit or miss, and Starscream is the worst. It just looks so crusty. I just think battle damage and wear always looks better if you go all in or it's a custom. Like this excellent custom Siege Megatron sold to me by Stinky Blue Rat at TFCon LA. Thank you, sir. And of course, the fact it's more so Cybertronian plane and not the proper jet plane also kind of put some people off. So naturally, when Earthrise was announced with an emphasis on Earth vehicles, the people cheered and we got a new Seeker mold. We brainwashed Transformers fans dived right in, but there were a lot of changes and well, let's dive right in. But before that, I have a quick message. If you get subscribed and get notified, you'll not only see new reviews, but you can also tune into live streams where I film footage for future videos. Any super chats will also be featured in the video as well. Also, if you like the video, please give a like and comment. Your engagement helps support this channel. Now, back to the video. So then we come to Earthrise Thundercracker, and yeah, this is very, very different. So first of all, of note, he is very, very bulky, like a lot bulkier than you typically get from the Seekers. You know, much bigger torso, much squarer arms. It's technically animation model, but also does look a little bit bulbous. The much more animation model accurate Thundercracker. The Thundercracker here is, you know, still big, but also very slimmed down in a lot of ways. So it kind of looks a little bit more like the cartoon, whereas this guy was a little bit more stylized, which is fine. Earthrise had a lot of not overly cartoon accurate, but still very nice looking vehicles. Then on the back, yeah, you got like the nose coming out the back, which it's got to go somewhere. I'm not pissed about that. Some people really don't like it, but so those are some problems. But the big controversy with this figure is the articulation downgrade. And this is kind of where the Earthrise mold gets a lot of backlash. So, head actually a lot more articulated this time. That's great. Butterfly can go backward, but it's not really intended. That's more so for the transformation. So, you do get a little bit of T-posing action. It goes in all the way. No more perfect elbows. That's a bummer. No more wrist swivel. That's also a bummer. Upper bicep swivel. The waist swivel is gone. Just completely. Well, legs, actually about the same there. You do get swivels up here. Toe bend and pivot's about the same. So, yeah, a little bit of a articulation downgrade. Not the Siege one had the articulation of like a really high-end figure, whereas this, you know, is a lot more limited. I mean, you can kind of get, you know, and like it's not impossible to get some decent posing on there, but I think, but due to the blockier proportions and it kind of doesn't work as well. Also, the arms are weirdly stumpy, just due to the whole bulk of it. It actually makes the arms look kind of stumpy and silly. It just doesn't. If we do my usual dab test, he can do it. He can do it just fine. But, you know, he can do my stupid little dab test just fine. But, so yeah, this is a downgrade from this. I do prefer the overall look of the ER mold. I'm just a sucker for that design. Now, the other thing that is controversial about the Seekers, the new ones, is the transformation. And I'll demonstrate that here. We'll open up the legs. You put them in like that. Oh, by the way, real quick. These parts here, you can remove. Move if you want to. I'm not going to. And then you stump them down. And then this part is, and then this part here is, I'm going to switch to autofocus. There's always this little gap in the torso for Thundercracker, and that annoys the hell out of me. You put the arms up like that, which looks so bizarre. And then what you got to do, you kind of have to nudge it along. It really does not want to get in there. I really don't like this step. Get in there. There you go. And then same for this side. And I will say you do get this hilarious looking stumpy Thundercracker. I do like that. That does look really funny. Anyhow, connect them at the waist, at the bottom. Connect this bit in. Then what else? And then you extend that. You extend that. Flip it around. And then click that in. Oh, almost forgot. We don't click it in yet. We gotta fold the arms in. Click it in. Fold up the, and then almost forgot. Fold these bits up. Click in the wings. Oh, this is one of those transformations I remember like the back of my hand. It's a very memorable run, but well, you'll see why it's very memorable one. And there we go. Come on. There we go. My bad. Okay. And then you just fold up the feet. Store the guns in. And there we go. A little Thundercracker right there. I do like that transformation, but there's a critical problem. If you guys know your older transformations, remember this guy? The old, the Starscream? Have a look. It is note for note the same transformation as the Classics one. The problem there, of course, is, you know, the Classics one was made in 2007, very different engineering mindset as a budget toy. This was a lot more expensive and a lot more, you know, a lot more going on. The plane does look fantastic. Like, it looks really cool. If I had a stand, does it have a spot for stand? No, that is disappointing, actually. Sides look tolerable, and bottom's of course an empty corpse, but that's what you do. So yeah, real quick, here's 86. Not a bad little plane, but also you kind of compare. I do think I prefer to look at the Earthrise one a little bit more. The detail lurks a lot more. There's less obnoxious kind of gappage, and of course, you know, well, the original's not perfect. This one also still has a lot of gaps. I think you just gotta expect that for Starscream plane. Although this one does have like a port for a stand, so that actually is nice. So while I do prefer this one's transformation, this one's robot mode, I much prefer this one's plane and transformation a lot. But of course, you know, that transformation in many ways comes at the price of articulation. Let's get the old Sky Warp in here. It'd be rude not to. Main difference is different kind of much more screamy face, and of course Skywarp has a purple color scheme, and you know, black and purple, very cool. I hope you can't hear that lawnmower outside, but yeah, very nice. It's nice, but it's the same in black. I do like the colors more, but
Now then, here's something funny. I don't have ER's Starscream, but here's the thing. When Studio Series 86 was underway, there was a leak for a leader class Starscream, which got everyone's attention. People were wondering if the ER mold was done for, but alas.
What we ended up getting was the same damn mold. Only this time, now it's colored a little more Studio Series-esque. Like, he now has his much more gunmetal face as opposed to the silver face you tended to get. You know what's funny? A lot of people actually complained that, you know, all the Greenville is like, oh, it's too overdone. It doesn't blend in with the other Studio Series action figures. Whereas if you kind of get some of them, especially the older ones, looks fine. I think, but I will say, you know, some of the newer figures, of course, look a lot less detailed compared to this. And I actually like this one's look. I don't like it when they're too under detailed. But of course, you know, it's the same figure. And you might be wondering, what did you get with a leader class price? You got a little finger articulation joint. Not a particularly great one. It no longer looks like a fist. It's more like a weird claw grip. You got the chair. Yeah, so you got Starscream's, no, not even Starscream's throne. This was never in the movie, was it? But yeah, you got a bunch of accessories. So you got a crown. Yep, that sure is a crown. You got these little shoulder buppies. Go. And you, of course, get the cape. Just attach it in there like that. And this kind of fuzz it up. And there you go. Starscream's cape. And of course, I will say the cape is a nice accessory. It's on a hinge, so you can unfurl it out. Do a little bit of this. And that does look really nice, but you know, that's the one thing it does. And yeah, of course, as many people pointed out, you kind of, with all this stuff on, he can't actually sit on the throne. And even if you wanted to get him to sit down on the throne, due to the way the kibble works, it's kind of like he's barely sitting on the throne. It just doesn't. It doesn't work. It doesn't work all that well. Let's get a shot of the old plain butt sex train I have going on here.
But here's the thing, like I said, when a new Seeker mold is released, there are plenty of reworking for the mold. In fact, there was a transparent version released for Beast Wars again in Japan as Ghost Starscream. Some usage as generic grunts, and some used for dramatic captures with upgraded paint. But I think where this mold really shines are the cone heads. Because notably, the cone heads were absent during freaking Dirge just completely blows out the white. Because the cone heads, notably, were absent from the siege line. They were just too skinny for it. Whereas this time around, they make perfect sense. The bulky bodies, the way the details are, because the way the details work, the bulk, it actually fits the cone heads kind of perfectly. And even their faces, like the faces on the cone heads look fantastic. Now, of course, the same problems with articulation still apply. Due to the bulky nature of them and all the new parts, while it's mixed for the Seeker, for the cone heads, it fits perfectly. And while it still has the same articulation problems, it's less egregious on the cone heads, simply because they were never the most athletic characters. Plus, considering the last use of the cone heads in chug scale were the Deluxe Classics mold, which were too small and a lot more cluttered, these actually polished them up quite a bit. And when you transform them all together into their play modes, they all just look amazing together. Almost justifies me buying all of them when a better mold is on the horizon. Chaffee donated $2 saying Among Us. I could shop, There we go. We got Among Us. We got Among Us thrust. So that was the Earthrise Seeker mold, and yeah, while I can see why these things were a bit disappointing compared to the articulation for the Siege ones, I still kind of respect them. While they are more limited, you can still pose them alright, the plane and transformations are still fun, and when they're maxed out for the cone heads, they become really damn good figures. In fact, honestly for the cone head, I think they'd have to do a lot of modification if they plan on using the new 86 body, just because otherwise the more streamlined look is gonna look rather off. I get the backlash. In fact, honestly, Earthrise in general was not the best Transformers line. A lot of parts forming, awkward designs, QC issues, and just some outright baffling figures. In hindsight, the Earthrise Seekers in comparison are just average, maybe a bit better than average when you get into the cone heads. Those reworkings do a lot of heavy lifting. Starscream and his crew have had a lot worse toys, and these are nowhere near the worst, but I can see the frustration. It really is that awkward in-between, with nowhere near the articulation of what came before and nowhere near the show accuracy of what we got after. But there's still a lot to love in my opinion. There were worse downgrades in Earthrise. But what about you? How do you feel about the Seekers mold? Do you have a positive or negative view of them? Let me know in the comments and please subscribe.